Hello, everyone, and welcome to the introduction to all my fish tanks. Let me know which one is your favorite. And the first one that I'm going to start with is my 125-gallon brackish tank. I originally started this tank probably 5 years ago when I was trying to combine a 30 and a 20-gallon together to try and decrease the amount of tanks I had, and surprise, then I add more tanks. The first fish I'm going to talk to you about is the mono sea bay. As you can see, they're derpy looking fish that can live in brackish or even marine tank setups, waters. They can get 6 inches, so they get medium to on the larger side, and come from more the Atlantic tropical waters, and they can live up to 5 to 7 years if you have good water conditions. The next fish that I'm going to talk about is the mono argensis. They are slightly larger than the sea bay and can get up to 9 or 10 inches, and they live a little bit longer, more so 7 to 10 years. They also have a wide range of waters that they live in, basically Indo-Pacific or Asian waters. They typically will start off as a freshwater fish, and then as they get older, they tend to move to more brackish or even marine water conditions. The next fish here is the night goby, which is a pretty cool looking fish that I have pretty much been keeping for the last 5 or 6 years. They are a little bit on the smaller, maybe medium-sized fish, where they get up to about 3 inches. They are a freshwater to brackish water. I do believe they can go marine, but they tend to want more of that fresher brackish water, and personally they seem to do better more in the brackish waters. The next fish are mollies. They are pretty popular fish that are really easy to take care of, take all different types of water, all different ranges, and seem to be pretty tolerant fish. In this picture, you see I have black mollies, I have golden black mollies that seem to be going and turning more black. So there are numerous types of mollies out there. They typically originate from the Atlantic Ocean in the Americas, although it seems they're bred overseas a lot in brackish waters. So they are a very diverse fish that can go from fresh water to even salt water as long as you acclimate them. They typically are in the small to medium size, with the chocolate or maybe the sylphin mollies typically getting a little bit on the bigger side. The last fish I'm going to talk about is the archer fish. The one I have here is a banded archer, and it has quickly become one of my favorite fish. And they are pretty cool because they will spit a stream of water to knock a insect or a shrimp so that they can get it. You'll even see them do it out of the water so they can knock bugs down. I've had several archers that didn't even do it when I got them, but then with time and patience and giving them something like ghost shrimp, it helps them to actually start to do that behavior. This next tank is a 30-gallon planted tank that's kind of a hodgepodge tank. It's where my rescue fish or kind of the old fish go when they don't have any buddies left in their tank. They all get kind of combined in this one. I have glow neon tetras, rasboras, shrimp, snails, now an angelfish, and some guppies. The plants are swords, freshwater seaweed, moss, salvinia, and some java fern. A tank that had a goldfish in it that just decimated the plants, tore them all up, beat them up, ate them all. So I had to do a little bit of work to try and get this tank improved. And here you see where I have done a little bit of TLC to the tank, fertilized, removed some of the old plants, put in some root tabs, and it made the guppies decide that they were going to start breeding and have just exploded in population since I've done that. So clearly they like what I've done with it, and you can see the plants just look so much better. So this tank is my 75-gallon freshwater tank that has my Mabu puffer and the Congo tetras. The Congo tetras are actually a really beautiful schooling fish that just, the more you have, the more you can see the schooling behavior. They are from the Congo River Basin, and stay a little bit on the smaller side. I do have one that's actually on the larger side, but he's the only one that's about 4 inches. But otherwise they seem to be a little bit smaller than that. Now, my Mabu puffer is named Tiny. He is in here until he gets a little bit bigger, and then he will go in the 400-gallon aquarium. So Mabu puffers are the largest freshwater puffer that come from the Congo River and Congo River Basin, and they can get up to 2 feet long, and depending on the health of your puffer or kind of the environment, the tank care, they can live up to 20 years. They are fish that have teeth, so you have to give them food, shelled food, that will grind down their teeth. So then that way you don't have to go in and manually grind them yourself. That sounds like a nightmare that I don't even want to deal with. So I give my Mabu snails, sometimes clams he'll eat, but things like that, that'll help to grind down his teeth. And we'll see how long it takes for him to grow. When I got him, he was pretty tiny, one of the smaller Mabus I've ever seen, but he finally seems to be growing. Now, this is my quarantine tank. It's a 20-gallon tank that I am currently quarantining some Corydoras, Rasboras, snails, plants. Everything gets quarantined before it goes into any of the tanks. I will do a separate video all about that. Corydoras are a really cool catfish that are really sociable, schooling type fish. You need to have a couple of them, probably 5 or 6. But they're really cool and fun to look at and can be sociable. Rasboras are a fun little fish that can go in even small tanks. They take a wide variety of waters, temperatures. Here we have the ghost shrimp. They are a fairly popular freshwater shrimp that can be used as feeders or can be used as a shrimp in your tank. Personally, I have kept them more so in brackish water, and they seem to do fairly well with that. Now here is my fish bowl. It is a no filter fish bowl that has some cloud minnows and some ghost shrimp in the tank. I did it as an experiment to see kind of how it would do, and I will do a video kind of talking about that and showing how to get that set up. Cloud minnows are a really fun, hardy fish that goes in all different type of water parameters. They can tolerate really cold water. I happen to have a heater in mine because until I fix the insulation in my room, even with the heat at night, it was going to 50. Also, I have ghost shrimp in here, which are a fun shrimp that I will keep in freshwater and in brackish water. The plants in here are overgrown intentionally since I will be moving them to other bigger tanks. And now on to the centerpiece 400-gallon Congo River themed tank. This is the largest tank I've ever had, and it's been an adventure. I feel like I'm learning so much and figuring out what works, what doesn't work. I have decided with this to make my own sump, so that was a little bit of a learning curve and adjusting, but I will do future videos on the different parts of the 400, kind of what went into it, planning, and the minutia of owning a large tank, like a 400-gallon tank. Now for the fish and the tank, I've already told you about the Congo tetra, so no need to go into that. The next fish is the leopard tenopoma. They are also known as the African bushfish or maybe a leaf fish. They're really kind of cool, and you'll see them kind of stalking prey. I'll see them stalking bloodworms in the tank, which is kind of funny. And the funniest thing I think about them is that you will see them in the weirdest positions and places just to try and hide in leaves. I'll see them hanging underneath one of the Anubias leaves where they're basically completely horizontal, or I'll see them hanging out vertically in some of the vow. They are a slow growing fish, but eventually, I believe in captivity, they get to about 6 inches. They will get a little bit bigger in the wild, so I wonder what will happen with the 400-gallon. Next is the Delezi Bichir, which is a pretty cool fish that I've already had a couple problems with it trying to escape the tank. They have ended up in the overflow box multiple times, so I actually had to jerry rig something to cover the sides of the overflow box where it was a little bit bigger that they could wiggle their way into the box. I had already thankfully had little sponge filters covering the holes of the top. If they're taking a long time to get bigger or grow, I may have to figure out a more permanent solution for the covers just because they do live a long time, 12 to 15 years. So you kind of have to make sure it's a little bit more permanent solution than sponge filter or filter pad that's stuffed into the hole on the lid. And last but not least for the 400 is the chocolate pleco. A family had wanted to get her into a bigger tank, and since she gets so big, potentially 18 inches long, and live for anywhere to 10 years, they wanted her to go to a person that would be able to handle her and take her for the long term. The children named her Pig, so everyone meet Pig the pleco. The pleco doesn't really fit into the Congo River theme or the biotope, but it is helpful to have something that will help me with the cleanup of the tank and the algae, especially since it's a large tank. And the snails likely will not be very effective because they will be eaten by the maboo. So this is all of my tanks, and I will be doing videos on each individual tanks. How do they come to be, maintenance stuff, things like that you would need to know for tank keeping. Let me know what you would like to see. What do you want to learn? What do you want to know about? I'm more than happy to talk about that stuff. I really look at this as a way to try and educate people and provide knowledge and information in a non-judgmental way. I really want to create an environment where people feel like they can ask questions and not be criticized for asking those questions. I also want to be able to help people feel comfortable and give them the knowledge to be able to keep fish tanks, have less issues with their tanks, and be more successful in the fish keeping hobby. Now be on the lookout for my next video, which will be talking about maintenance on the 400-gallon tank, also the importance of the nitrogen cycle and why it's so important and a fundamental concept that all of those who keep fish and fish tanks need to understand in order to be more successful at keeping fish happy and healthy. And with that, I end my video, and please like and subscribe. I can't wait to see you on the next video.